Mighty Ape is Australia's entertainment and pop culture superstore with everything from movies, music, games, toys, books, hobbies and more. Mighty Ape is your one-stop shop for the things that matter most. They constantly have hot deals and exclusive promos. And if you visit their website on the click-through banner on fakechef.net's homepage, then your purchase will help support Good Movie Monday. Mighty Ape, Australia's entertainment and pop culture superstore.
Good morning. Good morning.
Good morning!
Morning. Good morning.
Good morning.
You mean to wish me a good morning? What do you mean that it is a good morning whether I want it or not?
Please go away. Let me speak for the love of God.
How good was G.I. Joe in the 80s? Did you have a G.I. Joe, Ben?
I only ever had 2 G.I. Joes. The rest I had were Cores. Do you remember Cores? The cheap knockoff G.I. Joes?
No.
And you could get them at Toy World, and they were like, you got 6 in a pack, and they had dodgy paintwork, but they were the right size. They were the same size as G.I. Joes.
Did you get them from the Caribbean market or?
I think, yeah. Those and I wish I should have dug it out for the show, but I've got a great it's a Batman action figure, but on the packet it says it's Spider-Man. Like one of the great knockoff toys.
Nobody listening would ever know.
Yeah. Oh, here's one I prepared earlier.
Hey, did they have real crew cuts like the G.I. Joe? That's always what caught my attention.
Well, some of them, like funnily enough, the 2 G.I. Joes that I had, one wore a helmet and the other one had a mullet, and all the Cores had mullets. Like they were like there were 3 punk characters that were like military punks because they still came with machine guns and stuff, but they had like pink mohawks and stuff. But all the rest, from memory, had mullets.
That sounds like the Warriors.
Yeah.
Yeah. I did also play with Barbies and Strawberry Shortcake, so I had stepsisters.
Yeah, that was me.
I just I chewed my sister's Barbie's feet. Like I chewed the feet off until only the wire stub was left. Like I don't know what it was about. They were just like really kind of soft and
they
chewy.
were soft. Yeah.
And it was like, and they tasted pretty good. Like it was far superior to tinfoil. There's a throwback to a couple of weeks ago. Did you try the tinfoil, Sam, after last week?
No, I did not.
Week, you didn't give it a go? Well, we've got time, like in the break.
I'm scared to try it.
We'll record it live.
I haven't licked the battery either, so.
Oh, you missed that. Now that's.
I can't do it. It's like licking your phone. It's weird.
Oh, but it's even better than licking it unless there's like exposed wires in your phone. Like licking a battery is even more fun. But if you do it while watching like Alien Nation, where they jump into whenever the aliens jump into the ocean in that film, it's like salt water is like battery acid to them. So every time they do it in the movie, you lick the battery, and it's just like a taste. You can taste the movie.
The cinemas used to offer popcorn and batteries.
Yeah. 12 volts.
I think it's safe to say that today's theme for the show was a lot trickier than we first imagined.
Yes.
Yeah.
Definitely. 100%.
Well, let us introduce ourselves. How's it going, everybody? Thanks for hitting play on this particular podcast. You are listening to Good Movie Monday. It's the weekly show presented by fakechef.net, home of the nerdy cinematic ramblings. My name is Glenn Cochran, and those toys beneath my bed are none of your fucking business, all right? So my co-host, of course, is Ben Helwig, whose favourite toy is called the Black Destroyer, which retails for about $60. And yes, that is now part of my browser history. How are you, mate?
I'm good, and I want you to know that I do not pay retail.
And beside Ben in the Zoom verse, nervous about what I might say next, is Samantha Howson, who is much too lovely to be throwing sex toys at. Hey, Sam, how are you? Welcome back.
Thank you for having me. I'm glad to be back.
Yeah, sorry about that, guys. Like, we can't have a toy themed episode without going down that avenue. I apologize. No, Sam, it is great to have you back. If you were at the desk in person, I promise I would have had your mic prepped a lot better than I did last time.
That's all right. I do speak really quietly, and I don't know I'm doing it either. Like everyone always tells me to speak up, but no
but
idea.
if you go back and watch the actual videos that were recorded, the microphone was nowhere near your face.
Oh, really?
That's my fault.
Oh. Yeah, like I said, I don't like listening to myself or watching myself, so I haven't even looked at them. But
well, in case people are wondering, the theme of today's show is toy lines that have been adapted into movies, and it's quite a narrow point of reference, really. So we're going to be a little bit flexible on this one, I guess. Movies with toys in general, I don't care, really. But the reason we're doing this is.
Yeah.
Go on.
I have
Sorry, I didn't know that. I would have. My selection would have been completely different if it was just movies that had toys in them.
Same. I had the
Would have
exact
just
same that reaction. I had the same thing. I was like, wait, what?
What? I would have done Indian in the cupboard and like.
This is. I say it only to give a little bit of flexibility for the segments that are yet to come.
Right. Well, it's a bit late. It's like, hang on, let's just take an hour and a half break while I go watch. While I go read the Wikipedia entries of a bunch of other films that I haven't had time to watch.
And the reason that we are doing this theme is because the new Snake Eyes G.I. Joe Origins is being released in cinemas. And as you may have seen on the show's banner, we will be featuring a conversation with Andrew Koji from the movie, who is he plays Shadowstorm. So looking forward to that. And the gang is here too. Coming up, we have segments from Jarret Gahan from Monster Pictures, Guillermo Troncoso from Screen Realm, Adam Ross from Triple M, the Bonehead Weekly crew from Kentucky, and Chloe Ritchie from Movie Night with the Ritchie Girls. It's a fully loaded show, to be sure.
Introducing G.I. Joe Action Stars brand cereal, a delicious part of this complete breakfast. Crunchy stars that taste great.
Do you guys still have toys from your childhood?
Yes.
Yeah, somewhere.
What are they?
I've still got like a bunch of kind of decrepit He-Mans.
Did you chew them? Yeah.
The He-Mans had hard legs. They weren't. You try to chew those things, you broke your teeth.
So they've got gnaw marks.
But yeah, they've got there's some of the color's been sucked off it.
That's the same with the Black Destroyer when that arrives.
Yeah, no, it's not black anymore. Because the natural color is like some kind of weird fake skin color, and you're like, who wants a skin colored toy?
I still have Legos. I have Legos in a very robust and Lego specific briefcase. But I also have Squishy Eyeball too from the Melbourne show that I got in the show bag.
When was the last time you played with those Legos?
I bust them out like maybe once a year and I look at them and then I just put them back.
You look at them.
You polish them up. Polish the bricks.
You don't build anything?
Well, no, because you clean out the garage and you're like, oh, there's the Lego. And then you have a look at it and you just put it right back again. But I know it, like they are worth a fortune because of the cases that they're in. So, I do keep them.
Yeah. I still have something in like the storage unit, but I have no idea what. It's been so long. It's been over 10 years.
I do still have I have bouncy balls. I have a bucket of bouncy balls.
Really? You kept them? They always fell apart with me. I think I just I squished them too much and I pulled pieces off.
Did you chew them?
No, I did not chew them. I didn't chew them.
Well, speaking of bouncy balls, here's Jarret.
What a great segue.
Hey, this is Jarret and welcome to PE Class. Now, there's no new movies hitting home entertainment this week. It sucks, I know. But don't despair, I've got some news. Now, I don't know if you checked out the trailer last week for Neil Blomkamp's Demonic. It looks pretty amazing. And the good news is that Universal Sony Pictures Home Entertainment will be releasing the film digitally to buy on September 15th, then a week later releasing it on Blu-ray and DVD. And as I currently understand it, we may be the first territory in the world to receive a physical release of the film. Then also from Universal Sony, coming out on October 6th is the latest feature from M. Night Shyamalan, Old. Now, this is coming out on Blu-ray and DVD, and it could be the first opportunity for Melbourne and Sydney-siders to see the film, given that we're likely to be in lockdown throughout the entire theatrical season of it. Then on that very same day, October 6th, Umbrella Entertainment will release the latest in their Beyond Genre series with Possession. That's right, the one with Isabella Gianni and Sam Neill is coming to Blu-ray locally. I can't say at this stage whether there will be Simon Sherry artwork on the slipcover or whether there's any special features, but as soon as I know, I'll update you on that. Then there's more Shudder titles coming to Blu-ray and DVD on September 15th. These titles include Random Acts of Violence, Scare Me, Terrified, and Tigers Are Not Afraid, and these are coming out through Acorn Media and Madman Entertainment. Then the last bit of news I have relates to Paramount's upcoming August 11th release of A Quiet Place Part 2 on 4K Ultra HD. Well, they've actually detailed the specs and special features for this release, and as predicted, it does have a Dolby Atmos track. It'll also have Dolby Vision and HDR10, however it's a little light on in the special features department as there's only 5 featurettes, which is a bit disappointing given the film was delayed by over a year due to the pandemic. You would have think John Krasinski and the crew could have spent a little bit more time maybe recording an audio commentary, digging deep and finding some deleted scenes, and just basically providing something a bit more substantial than 5 featurettes. But regardless, I'll be picking it up, and look, if they double dip down the track and do a deluxe edition, of course I'll rebuy it. Anyway, that's it for me for this week. Until next time, stay physical.
The Monster Fest and Monster Picture social media pages are where you will find Jarret Gahan. So at the very least, head over and give those pages a like and a follow. And of course, Jarret will be back again next week, and we make no apologies for that. So examples of toy lines turned into movies, I guess there's Trolls and Masters of the Universe and a fuck ton of Barbie movies, Bratz, My Little Pony, all that kind of stuff. Pound Puppies. But Ben, Sam, because there's 3 of us on the mic, we're going to do things a little bit differently, and we're going to whittle it down to 2 recommendations, and we're going to divide those over 3 blocks of the show. So we'll start with the 2 of you for the first round, then myself and Sam will go, and then myself and Ben will bring it home. So Ben, did you struggle? Did you struggle with this theme?
I did struggle, and I thought we were doing 3, and now I vaguely remember you texting me and going, "Yeah, 2." So I prepped 3. So I'm going to talk about 2 in one because they do relate. But I did I found stuff. I didn't find stuff that was necessarily good. So let's just it was I loved it as a kid, but I do not care for it anymore. much like Star Wars.
Ooh, controversial.
Yes, controversial opinion. But for my first kind of one, I'm going to talk a bit about both GoBots and Transformers, because for me, as a kid, I was a GoBots kid. I preferred Machine Men. Because primarily I think it was because, one, there was only like 3 characters for the good guys and 3 characters for the bad guys, and so it was much easier to remember, and they're a lot more kind of iconic. I always got confused with who the Transformers all kind of were. Like I couldn't tell Mirage from what's his name, Wheeljack or whatever the hell his name was, or whatever. I didn't.
And
know.
we are talking about the animated Transformers movie.
The animated, yes. So I'm actually talking about the cartoon series, but good job at listening. And the other reason that I always preferred GoBots was because Transformers was on the Early Bird show with Marty the Monster and Daryl. What was his name?
Daryl Cotton. Yeah,
Daryl Cotton. And they always intercut every episode with BMX races and other stupid shit that I was like, it's like having a 40-minute commercial and 10 minutes of show. So I never really could get into Transformers, but I didn't realize that at some point Hasbro actually bought out the Machine Men, which were Tonka toys, and amalgamated the universes at some, like so there is an alternate Transformers universe with the GoBots in it.
Well, I'm gonna talk about that later because the new G.I. Joe movie Snake Eyes does open up that world. So
with the GoBots,
I'll talk about later.
Oh, it's because it's going with Transformers, right, or something like that. I'm sure. Why not? But so like I was gonna so I could talk about in Australia at least they released GoBots as a film. There were two GoBots films, GoBots and then GoBots versus the Rock Lords, which I always thought the Rock Lords were like He-Man characters. So I always thought that was weird. But it actually turns out that GoBots movie is just the first 5 episodes of the show / the original miniseries. And Transformers actually kind of did the opposite. They actually made a proper movie, like an animated one, but like a proper movie. And it has some phenomenal voice kind of cast. It's Orson Welles' last film, and he plays Unicron, the planet-eating Transformer.
Oh, that's cool.
Scatman Crothers also, I think it was his last film.
Wow.
And he plays Jazz, like a very kind of low-key role for him.
What a film for legends to go out on.
Yeah. And it's like Eric Idle turns up, Judd Nelson, Leonard Nimoy, Casey Kasem from the Weekly Top 40.
Wow.
I'm
Robert
Casey Kasem.
Stack. I'm Casey Kasem. And you're not. I'll be right back with this week's number 1.
Love songs and dedications.
Yes. That's enough. That's enough of the horrible Casey Kasem impressions from me. And of course, and Frank Welker, who did the majority of the voices in the show.
Hello.
No, not Frank Walker. Frank Welker. It's not the National Tiles. It's not the National Tiles rep. But the funny thing is, the movie Transformers, the movie, was a lot more hardcore than the series. Like they kill off it, like literally in the first 5 minutes of the film, they kill off a bunch of your favorite Autobots right from the get-go. Like, and it is like the Autobots do not do well in Transformers the movie. Like it is non-stop carnage. The Decepticons clearly throughout the whole film have the upper hand. And there's like, I'm not even going to go into the plot. Like, just look it up on Wikipedia. It's a freaking convoluted story. But it actually is. It has a great soundtrack, and it is, out of all the movies that I looked at for this episode, it is one of the few that is actually good.
How long is it? Is it a normal feature?
That's a good question. It's definitely, I would say it's around the 100-minute mark.
85?
Hang on, I've got it up here. What does it say? What does it say on the old IMDb? It says, I'm just filling until the page loads, 94 minutes.
Oh, okay.
Oh, let's split hairs.
Yeah. So somewhere in the middle there.
Awesome. Sam, you're up.
Okay. Yeah, I prepped for 3 as well. So I I will choose. Well, you know what? I'll talk about Playmobil the movie, because I just randomly found this on Netflix and I was like, oh, that's a toy. And so, but I actually have a lot to say about it, because it's really
I've never even heard of it.
Yeah. It came out in 2019. So it was like right before the pandemic. So it's
I was in a coma that year. It's
convenient. Wait, so did you come out of the coma during?
I'm still not out of the coma. Okay. I'm still there.
Yeah. So it was actually directed by, I don't know if I'm pronouncing his name right, but it's Lino DeSalvo.
Welcome to my world.
Yeah. And
Isn't DeSalvo the guy who directed Jeepers Creepers? No, is that Victor DeSalvo?
Yeah.
It's Victor Salva. We won't talk about him on the toy show.
This guy is actually. Do you have something to say?
No. It's the good thing is that we're all on video with each other. So I just sit here the whole time just making like facial expressions that look like I'm about to say something. And because of the delay, it just causes everyone else to go.
Okay. I thought you were going to say something like wise and insightful.
When has he ever done that?
Yeah. I don't even know what insightful means.
Yeah, anyway, he has an animation background. So he actually did Frozen and Tangled. And yeah, anyway, so this it's by, I don't know if you guys had it, but they're bigger than Legos and they're not Duplo, but they came out in like sets.
Quadruplo.
Sorry?
No, I didn't know. I had the two. I had Lego and I had Duplo.
Yeah, it's a German company, but I remember distinctly
Right.
having at least one.
Just one block.
No, just one set. No, because they came out. They weren't really like, they were like sets of toys,
Right.
but they weren't like things that you necessarily like built up like Lego or Duplo.
What's the name of the toy?
Playmobil.
Playmobil. I thought it was like, when you said that, I thought you were like a toy plane, like a
No, Playmobil.
like a yeah, right,
Yeah.
like
And I
some
think
kind
it's
of
all
thing
one
that
word,
hangs
right?
over a crib, or like a plane on a string kind of thing. I had no idea what. It's like, oh, it's a toy I've never heard
it's
of.
probably why it did not receive the money back for its budget at all. But there are so many things about this film. It had songs that were completely not memorable at all. It was so strange that they even put that in there. It went from like live action to animation. So the live action had this storyline where these two kids were like full of life and they were really excited about traveling the world, and then their parents die. And it's so unnecessary, because the only reason why they have that is because she was free-spirited before and now she isn't, because she's looking after a younger brother. And I'm like, that's understandable. But then they get sucked into this Playmobil world and they go on all these adventures, and then she's like back to the way she was before or something. But it was so weird. And she was like the main character, but she was like 18 years old. But the toy is for like 4 to 12-year-olds, which
That sounds like you talk to anyone who collects action figures and you go, that sounds about right.
Yeah, this movie sounds great.
Like any He-Man fan, like, yeah, what's wrong with that?
it's fine for collecting. That's fine. But like for this movie's like age group, I didn't know who was meant to watch it. Like the audience was like all over the place. I had no idea, because the actual film was very tailored to young people, but the main character was older. Do you know what I mean? It was really strange. It was a strange film, and I'm assuming that's why it had like big names. It had Daniel Radcliffe and Anya Taylor-Joy, and Adam Lambert was the bad guy, and he was really good. The actors were great.
Adam Lambert,
Yeah.
American Idol Adam Lambert.
Yeah.
Queen Adam Lambert.
Yeah.
Queen.
And so it was actually, I mean,
Well, I just twitched when you said that, Glenn. Like, that was a completely like a non-conscious kind of reaction to Adam Lambert in Queen. It was like,
yeah, so it was the animation was great, but that's understandable because that's where the director's background was from. But
did the parents die in the animated part or
no,
in the real part?
In the real part.
Oh, that's a shame.
Yeah. The dramatic reenactment in the with the
animated part.
The Playmobil, they have a
Yeah.
a little car accident with
the pieces just fell apart. That's all it was.
But yeah, it was surprisingly, I have a lot to say about Playmobil the movie.
Awesome. You do indeed.
I just like it. So in 2019, so when were the toys around? Was the actual?
They were from the mid 70s till now, actually.
Jesus.
Yeah.
That's so weird.
Yeah. German. So maybe it's
yeah.
more of a a European thing, then
Well, I'm sure they're to be played with in a very precise manner,
very mathematical,
completely lacking in joy.
science.
It explains the one block they had to ration them.
Yeah. It's one block per family. You had to join together with everyone else in your
Oh,
apartment
that's
block.
sweet. I like that. That's nice.
To be able to play.
Yeah. Community.
Yeah.
How's it going, everybody? It's Guillermo here again from ScreenRealm.com, Australia's favourite entertainment website covering all things movies and television. Here to quickly tell you a little bit about what we've covered on the website in the past week. Kicking off with the casting of Batgirl. Warner Brothers and DC Films are taking the comic book character to the screen in a film adaptation that will be directed by Adi El-Arbi and Bilal Fallah, known for Bad Boys 3, aka Bad Boys for Life. Set to play Batgirl, also known as Barbara Gordon, is Leslie Grace. According to Deadline, the Afro-Latina star is known for her breakout role in the recent movie musical In the Heights. No plot details for Batgirl are known as of yet, but we do know that we'll be following Barbara Gordon, who is the daughter of Commissioner Gordon. Leslie Grace reportedly beat out a number of stars for the role, including Isabella Merced, Zoe Dutch, and Haley Lou Richardson. Netflix is getting together the cast for an upcoming Australian family film titled True Spirit. Oscar winner Anna Paquin, New Zealand star Cliff Curtis, and Oscar nominee Josh Lawson, the Aussie star who recently killed it as Kano in Mortal Kombat. The film is to be based on the true story of Jessica Watson, a 16-year-old Aussie girl who in 2010 became the youngest person ever to sail solo non-stop, unassisted around the world. Jessica Watson will be played by Aussie actress Tegan Croft, known for Home and Away and for playing Rachel Roth in the DC series Titans. And we know a little bit about the next film coming from Jordan Peele, the Oscar-winning writer-director who delivered 2017 horror hit Get Out and followed it up with 2019 horror film Us. Now I say we only know a little bit more because all we have is a poster, the film's title, and a release date. The film has simply been titled Nope, as in N-O-P-E, and the film has been given a US release date of July 22nd, 2022, so that's another year away. And the poster is interesting to say the least. It's basically a nighttime shot overlooking the lights of a small town, and in the sky there's a cloud ominously hovering above the city. There's also a colorful banner trailing from the cloud, which is visually kind of ironic, very intrigued as to what could be on the way here. And the latest film from filmmaker M. Night Shyamalan has been reviewed by Glenn. The film is titled Old and tells the story of two families holidaying on a remote island resort where things get very creepy. Within moments of arriving, it becomes apparent there is something strange about the location, and when the youngest children appear to be aging rapidly, they discover that there is something horribly wrong and that time itself has been distorted. Glenn thought the premise was fascinating enough, even if it was a little contrived, but wasn't impressed with the overall film, saying that Shyamalan's compulsion for twist endings continues to be his Achilles heel, and I quote, putting it bluntly, Old is a struggle. The premise quickly wears thin and the characters are not interesting enough to champion beyond one act. Perhaps there is value in Shyamalan's trademark twist ending, and I admit that I did not see it coming. I cannot say that I enjoyed where I was taken in order to get there. 2 out of 5 stars for Old, and that about does it for me. Be sure to go to ScreenRealm.com for all your latest movie, TV news, trailers, all that jazz. Thank you once again to the Good Movie Monday team for having me, and thank you all for lending me your ears for a couple of minutes. Till next week, I'm out of here.
What's my name? Say it again. Harmonize my name, nerds. Dominate. Can't you see that no one is greater than me? I kill anybody who disagrees. And having just 2 arms was lame, so I grew 2 more and I changed the game. Now I got 4 ways to punch you in the face. It's going on. I sleep on blades. I use fire to shave. I'm on an evil crusade. Oh yeah. Ninjutsu surprise. Look into my red eyes. You know my name is Garmadon.
The song is It's Garmageddon. It's from the Lego Ninjago movie. And of course, the Lego films. That's a hugely successful movie franchise based on a popular toy line. I do have to admit, I find them hard to resist. They're pretty fun. You guys into those?
Yeah, no, they were great. The Batman one, it's awesome.
There was what, 4 theatrical films, and I think there's a whopping 21 direct-to-video movies in that series as well, not to mention all the short films and TV specials. So anyway, before that, you heard Guillermo from Screen Realm. Once again, give their website a look and follow them on social media. So here's a question for you. What toy line would you like to see turn into a movie if challenged with making that decision?
Like a live-action movie?
Whatever you like.
Did you not have this prepped?
I remembered to prep it just as Glenn said it right then. Which one would you want to have as a movie? I would like to see. I would actually, and I think it may actually be in the works, or at least it's probably been optioned. But I would like to see like a live action Silverhawks movie or a live action Thundercats.
Ooh, yeah, that's a good one. What about Mad Balls?
Yeah, I never understood. What about Fuzzles or Wuzzles?
Yes. I think that
they turn such a. I feel like Tom Hanks in Big when you folded them inside out and they turn into a ball, and you're like, why are they turning into a, like in Big when it's a transformer that transforms into a building? You're like, why do you want to build it? Why do you want to play with a building? Like it's like a soft ball that didn't bounce. So you're like, well, I can throw this at my sister's head, but the impact is pretty low.
When did it come out? When was that?
Oh, it would have been early mid 80s.
Oh, okay.
And there was a cartoon series as well.
Mm.
What about you, Sam?
My toys were like Polly Pockets and Barbies. And Barbie, they're making a Barbie movie with Margot Robbie. So that's going to happen. But like, I always just remembered like sea monkeys and like, I never had
Did you have, I don't know if you may be too young. Did you have glowworms? Do you remember glowworms?
No.
Yeah, I had a glowworm.
I had a glowworm. They were great.
Did they glow?
A glowworm and a Teddy Ruxpin.
They glowed in the dark. They were like, it was like a hard plastic kind of toy with clothes, and it glowed in the dark. He looked like Jiminy Cricket.
Oh yes,
yeah, he looked like a green slug.
Yeah. I remember. I have the vision in my head, but I never had one. No.
Didn't they use a slimy glowworm at the start of The Fly 2 when she gave birth to the maggot?
I haven't seen Fly 2.
Do you reckon if they screened the Lego movie on IMAX, it becomes a Duplo movie?
I actually considered that question for a second until I realized how silly it was.
Yes, I believe it. I believe it does.
Cobra isn't coming.
New threats called for new warriors like you, Snake Eyes.
Let's do this.
Cobra will annihilate you.
I can tell you're a little impressed with me.
So following two commercially successful yet critically panned G.I. Joe movies in 2009 and 2013, Snake Eyes has arrived with a reboot. It stars Henry Golding as the popular Snake Eyes character and co-stars Andrew Koji as Storm Shadow. He's best known as the lead actor in HBO's Warrior, and he recently sat down to chat about the film in a weird international press junket. So it was a weird whirlwind of a conversation, very brief, but it was a good little chat nevertheless. So we thought we'd share it with you today, and let's have a listen.
Hey Glenn, how you doing?
Yeah, really good, mate. How are you?
Yeah, I'm good, man. You got a good figure behind you. It's the wrong kind of storm, though. It's a storm trooper, that one. And we're on a Storm Shadow vibe right now.
Oh, you switched on. That's yeah, awesome. Hey, thank you for chatting. I just want to go right back to start with a question.
Sure.
Did you play with GI Joes when you were a kid?
No. I grew up with the video games and some toys, but no, we didn't. We had it was Action Force in England, and it wasn't the same. So no, I didn't. Yeah. But we had to quickly do the research once the role came in. Yeah.
So this film, does it occupy the same universe as the previous two, or is it completely standalone?
Yeah, it's a reboot, a revival, a refresher. It's new beginnings, man. But it's also, I guess, because it's a modernization kind of adaptation, for the modern day. So yeah, it's kind of it's just a complete new spin on it,
That's good. That's really exciting. And the whole concept of sort of brother ninjas with opposing destinies is a tried and true kind of trope in these sort of films. But the interesting thing about these characters is they have such a history going back from the toy line to cartoons and other media. Did you have to deep dive into the character to sort of learn more about it, or was it all there on the page for you?
No, it wasn't on the page. And I think there was, it was definitely you have to deep dive because obviously the script is the starting point, but then there's still work to be done. So. And there's still like finding out, I think it was very, when I got the early draft of the script, it was still finding itself, and it was, I think, we wanted to know what was the best thing to do with the characters. So I think and the universe actually as the whole, like the tone we were setting and everything. You do the deep dive, you figure out what is useful and what is not, and I think the main thing is, with a character set in this with a modern adaptation with a modern spin on it, you basically have to find the soul and the essence and the spirit of the character. That's the main thing. Once you got that, which was basically I got that from talking to fans, one fan in particular, he kind of was a Storm Shadow fanatic, so he was my main resource for that. And once I figured it out, then it was kind of laying in all the usual actory prep work that you do, the scene analysis, breaking everything down, and then figuring out the Japanese culture and the samurai kind of influence that Robert was as a huge lover of Japanese cinema. Yeah, all those things just go into the mix.
Yeah. Awesome. And what was the difference in discipline for you going from television action to film action? It's kind of the same, I think. There's not much, I wouldn't say much difference. It depends on the director and the TV though, Warrior, I'd say you have to be fast, man, because, TV's on a lot smaller budget and, you got to get through 10 episodes of filming, and every, for the, filming that. It's just different, man. It's different, yeah. Cool. And you spoke of like entering this universe a minute ago. Does this film occupy that Hasbro universe that it's sort of rumored to, that it does in the cartoons?
I can't really speak. Does it occupy the Hasbro universe? I think it's teasing. It's teasing some stuff for the potential. Yeah, and I know there are talks of things, and I think it's early days. I'm sure that some mastermind up there twiddling his fingers, his puppetry, whatever. He might have some plan, but yeah, that's all I know.
Yeah, no, cool. And just real quickly, you want to talk about the director, is Robert Schwenk. Is it Schwenke? That's how you pronounce it?
Something like that, yeah.
He's a really big and bold and visual kind of director. How is he to work with?
Yeah, I really like Robert, man. I'm going to be doing another film with him. He was probably the main reason that I took the job the first time. I could tell that he really cared about, and he's an actor's director, man. Actor's director, cares about Japanese cinema, lovely dude. I connect with him. He taught me a lot. He's teaching me a lot about film and cinema as a whole, cinema history. And he taught me a lot about Japanese cinema history as well. I think he doesn't like the press, so he keeps out of it. But what's up, Robert? How you doing?
No, cool. Well, this is all very exciting. I'm really looking forward to it, and I just want to end on a question. They've already announced there's a sequel. Is there anything you can sort of tease about that?
Oh no, I think that we have to wait till it comes out first, man. I think because they do listen to the audience reaction, and they'll find that out and listen to that, and then I think, I mean, there were some things in the works, but I think they're gonna, you've got to take one step at a time.
Awesome. Well, no, thank you so much for your time. It's been great chatting, and good luck with it all, mate.
My pleasure, man. Thank you.
A good little conversation there. Hope you enjoyed it. Big thanks to Paramount Pictures and Stack Magazine for helping to arrange that one. And now it's time for the Boneheads, and rather than Toyline movies, because the pickings were slim, I did ask them to follow up the G.I. Joe theme with a segment about fun military action movies. So here you go.
Oops. Hey, welcome to Funsies.
Funsies?
Funsies.
Why didn't we call it Funsies?
I don't know. But anyway. Rebrand. Welcome to Bonehead Weekly Funsies. Funsies. It sounds like an STD. Yeah, well.
I got the Funsies once. It was young and needed the money.
Yeah, well, it drips. So, we're talking about war movies, but not the most serious war movies this week, gentlemen. We're talking about the goofy fun ones, like Schindler's List. Or just
fun ones. Oh my God, that's
it
terrible. I'm ashamed to actually follow that joke.
Technically it can be actiony and not be serious. Like the Dirty Dozen? Sure.
Dirty Dozen's very serious. They're all sentenced to die.
Yeah, but they're dirty, and there's a dozen of them. Charles Brosnan wins. Never mind. Screw it. Let's move on with this. All right, so I'm going to go first. Here's one that takes place during World War II, and it's based on a famous play, and the movie came out in 1955, and Henry Fonda played Mr. Roberts in the movie Mr. Roberts. He actually played him on Broadway as well, which I find fascinating, and I was looking at the director. I didn't realize it was directed by Mervyn LeRoy and John Ford. It makes sense that John Ford was there because, Ward Bond and a couple of Phil Carey, these are people that were in a lot of John Ford films, were also in this picture, so that makes sense. But James Cagney plays the captain, and Henry Fonda is a lieutenant trying to do the best he can for his folks, and it's just fun. I think it still holds up. I watched it a few years ago, and I laughed. I enjoyed it. Jack Lemmon is an ensign, and he's also hilarious in it. William Powell. James, what favorite movie do you have of William Powell?
All of them.
The Thin Man.
Oh, yeah. Well, yeah.
We recommend The Thin Man. William Powell.
Oh, yes. We definitely recommend The Thin Man.
So there's a lot of hijinks ensuing. James Cagney's hard-nosed, and I like James Cagney. It's just a movie of its time about World War II, but I enjoy it quite a bit. So if you've never actually seen it, go back. It was a huge film. Check it out, Mr. Roberts.
James.
I want to talk about the best film that ends in the word Academy, and that is the little-known, not often celebrated Combat Academy. Combat Academy, you see, is about two high school ne'er-do-wells who play pranks so much that they get kicked to military school. It introduced the world to some hack called George Clooney. Clooney, I think is how it's pronounced. No, it was a made-for-TV movie. It's not overly great, But I remember watching it as a kid and being in awe of all the pranks. And here's the spoiler: the end of the movie, one of them goes, "Hey, I'm going to give up pranks. Here's my box of pranks," and they're burning stuff at the combat academy, the military academy. And he goes, "Will you just take this and toss it in the fire for me?" And the last scene in the movie is the other guy goes, "I guess he turned life around," and he throws it in the fire. Well, it's full of fireworks. Combat Academy. Seldom seen military comedy from the 80s. Do you remember the 80s? I don't.
Well,
All right.
no, the cocaine it's kind of hard to.
So Joe did the classic. James did the 80s. I'm going to move up to the 90s. And I'm not, you all talked about the Army and possibly the Marines. I'm going to go naval. And I'm going to talk about the only movie that starred a man who had a tattoo on his penis down Periscope.
I knew you were going to do that when I thought about doing it too. Not
Directed
stuff out of it.
Directed by David S. Ward, stars Kelsey Grammer, Bruce Stern, Harry Dean Stanton, for crying out loud, Kentucky native.
Hey,
William,
David S. Ward also gave us.
Go for it. Major League?
Major League, yeah. Didn't he
Yeah.
Major League?
No, I just was going to let you have the fun for that. But anyway, it also has Harlan Williams, Toby Huss, Rip Torn, God love him, angry son of a bitch. But no, it's all about this
Patton Oswalt.
It's all about this lieutenant commander who wants his own sub. He's expecting a high class nuclear ranked sub, but he gets a diesel driven submarine from the 40s, and he has to use this during this war games. And he has this really eclectic group of people. Each one is funny. If you haven't seen Down Periscope, you should watch it. It is a true representation of American military.
And if you enjoy the film, read Patton Oswalt's Silver Screen Fiend, and he'll explain why he just walks off set and you never see him the rest of the movie.
Yeah,
it's in there.
All right, this has been Bonehead Weekly Funsies.
Bonehead Weekly Funsies.
That's what that's what I like to call those. Those the tiny speedos for men. That's like literally all it does is just covers the junk. They're a funsie. That's a funsie.
They always deliver. Boneheads by name, Boneheads by nature. They are Joe Lewis, Chad Jennings, and James Thomas. And their full podcast is Bonehead Weekly, and they give good interviews. So they've got lots of good guests and whatnot. So find them wherever you get your podcast from, and all that jazz. Sam, it's now our turn to go. Do you want to take the lead on this one?
Yeah. So I did a board game, a very popular board game called Clue or Cluedo, depending on what hemisphere you're from. And yeah, it's pretty classic. I rewatched it, and I remember watching it when I was younger and thinking it was hilarious, but it's actually really subtle. It's so subtle in its humor. You could like blink and miss it. But
does that mean your sense of humor has gotten less sophisticated as you got older?
I don't know. I mean, I watched it with my parents, and they were probably laughing hysterically. So I was like, "Oh, this is funny." But it was fun. It is funny, but it's just it's interesting now to like watch it a bit older and be like, Tim Curry is just incredible, no matter what he does. Madeline Kahn was always one of my favorites. I loved her.
I always had a crush on her.
Yeah, she's so amazing. But like, it's probably not one of her best because she doesn't have a lot of lines. She's not really a huge part of it, but it has some really great people in it. But the director was he directed My Cousin Vinny, and he also was co-creator of Yes Minister, which I found really interesting.
I saw Ben's face light up there.
Yeah, I like Yes Minister and Yes Prime Minister.
Yeah, he did both. Yeah, so he his name's Jonathan Lynn, and so everyone knows the board game, but it was created in England, which is very appropriate since everything that comes out of England's a murder mystery. But yeah, and it's great because it's an 80s movie, but it was set in the 50s, and I love those. They're just, I don't know, it just has like charm, like 80s and 50s mixed together. Oh, and the DVD has like 3 endings, which you can watch all 3, or it can happen at random, which is fun. I
I
it.
like that.
Yeah, I watched all 3.
Do
But
you remember we had that TV show? We had the Cluedo TV show.
no,
It was hosted by was it the guy who was married to Kylie Mole from the Comedy Company?
Ian McFadden. I
Ian
do
McFadden.
remember this.
Yeah, and each week they had different guests were playing Professor Plum and
oh, that's cool.
Colonel Mustard and all that sort of stuff, and they played the game kind of like live on TV.
Oh, that's awesome.
Can't remember.
Yeah,
That
that's
was
right. It's like the original Thank God You're Here.
Yeah,
Oh, I love
totally.
that show.
We called it Cluedo down here, didn't we? It wasn't Clue here.
Yeah, it was
Yeah,
Clue-
Cluedo. Yeah.
Because I always got confused as a kid when the movie was out, like on video. It's like, why isn't this called Cluedo? Why have they called it
Yeah,
Clue?
it's like Wally and Waldo.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like, just stick
What
to
was that?
one.
What was that all
Always
about?
Wally
Yeah.
to me.
Yeah, because Waldo, for us, Waldo was the bad guy. But in
Yeah.
the States, Waldo was Wally. And I don't even know what their bad guy was called. But anyway, yeah.
Cool. Well, do you have anything more to add to that?
No, it's a great film. If you haven't seen it, see it.
Yes, it is. I think that's got a nice juicy Blu-ray release here as well, if I'm not mistaken.
I haven't seen it since I was a kid, and I remember it taking me by surprise that it was the Cluedo movie because it was called Clue,
Mm.
and I was like, oh, this is just like this is just like the game. This is stupid. And it's like, oh,
They've all got the same names.
Sorry, I do remember the reference in Bill and Ted's. It's one of the games when they challenge death to
That's
the game.
Oh, okay,
It's
yeah,
like,
yeah.
was it Colonel Plum in the library with the candlestick?
I forgot that was one of the games because they did Battleship and
Yeah,
chess.
Battleship,
I'm
yeah.
pretty sure they did chess as well.
Best 3 out
3
of
out of
5.
5.
Damn right.
Well, I'm gonna take you guys back to 1977 for what is considered to be the first feature-length movie based on a children's toy, and it's the movie is Raggedy Ann and Andy: A Musical Adventure, and those toys go right back to the 30s though, so they were well established before this film came along. But have you guys seen this? It is a pure delight.
No, I haven't
No.
seen it.
No,
I was shaking my head, realizing that no one can hear me do that.
Shake.
Well, I didn't think I'd seen it either, so I found it and went and watched it and realized I had seen it, and all the memories came flooding back for when I was a kid. I had it taped off the television, and I remember even when, like, where the ad breaks were and shit like that. So, you know, it's somewhat of a contentious film when you look up the history of it too. The director was Richard Williams, and he's the guy that animated all of the Who Framed Roger Rabbit stuff. And he left the project over a massive disagreement about the number of musical sequences in the film. And if you actually read up all of the reviews of the film at the time, every single one of them comes down hard on it for the too much music. Just far too much music. And it's true. They finish one song and then there's maybe 30 seconds of dialogue and boom, straight into another one. And the entire movie is, well, it's called a musical adventure, so I guess it kind of makes sense. But I love it. It's very charming, actually. And the cast includes Diddy Kong from Grease, who played Frenchie. And she plays Raggedy Ann, and if you know her voice, then you'll know that she's a pretty good choice for that. And I don't know, Ben will probably know this guy, Mark Baker. Have you heard of him?
Mark Baker.
He was in Swashbuckler. I've never heard of him, but he played Raggedy Andy. And he looks a lot like, what's the dweeb from Fraternity Vacation? He looks a lot like him.
Oh, I can't remember his name, but I know the guy became a porn star.
Porn.
Yeah.
Is it Stephen Jeffries?
Yeah, Stephen Jeffries, that's it.
Well, we've managed to tie in a pornographic film with Raggedy Ann.
I was going to say, you guys talked about this before, haven't you? On one of the other episodes.
Yeah.
Hey, somebody listens, Ben.
I don't believe it. It's just the transcription service.
Well, tell me if this is familiar, though, because the storyline is about 2 toys, amongst many others, in a bedroom that come to life whenever their 6-year-old leaves the room. So I reckon the producers of this had a really good case to sue.
Toy Story.
I think 20th Century Fox made this one. They could have easily sued Pixar because this is Toy Story personified.
But there's no singing really in Toy Story, though, is there? They cut the music part out. And they went, well, no case to answer.
Imagine if Raggedy Ann was all Randy Newman.
Yeah.
Leave in the bedroom. But it's a magical film, and a bit like the Playmobil, this one is live action and animation as well. So I kind of, when I was watching it, my mind went right back to Dot and the Kangaroo. It's that kind of animation. They never actually blend the animation with the live action. No, it just cuts between them. So whenever the toys are lifeless and in the bedroom with the little girl, it's live action. And then when they come to life and go on adventures, it becomes animation. But the animation's really, really delicious. It's charming. I kind of like the musical sequences, even though there are too many of them. But if anybody is curious to find this one, it's on YouTube in a few versions of it, but I highly recommend watching the 35mm transfer that they've got up there, because not only does it look amazing, it's complete with, fleck marks and things like that, just to give it that extra bit of charm. It has been polished though, but yeah, so Raggedy Ann and Andy, A Musical Adventure, that's where I'm going with this one. And yeah.
I really think that all movies should learn off Tintin and that Sharks, was it? The Sharks movie that I talked about a couple of weeks ago, where it's just one musical number randomly thrown in there at a point in time that you're not expecting it, and once it's over, they never reference it, and it never happens again.
Well, in Raggedy Ann and Andy, a musical sequence that finishes, and you go, well, surely there can't be any more. And there's another one.
It's like the encore that doesn't end.
That's right. It just goes on and on, my friend.
Yeah.
So this is where we throw to a new segment we've got from Chloe, and this one, the only introduction it needs is a very familiar and specific sound effect.
Hello again, friends. It's Chloe from Movie Night with the Ritchie Girls, and honestly, I don't think I've been this excited to rewatch a movie than I was this week. Picture it, the year is 2007. MySpace still fully exists, and my emo phase is in full swing. The world has just had their mind blown by Transformers. That's right. This movie is full to the brim of action and adventure. This sci-fi toy line classic will keep you glued to the screen for the full 2 hours and 24 minutes. The story just moves and changes with perfect fluidity, and all comes to a head in the most impressive and chaotic robot fight that will 100% mess with your eyesight. Directed by Michael Bay, who you may know from other gigs like Bad Boys 2, Pearl Harbor and Armageddon, also served as producer alongside Steven Spielberg. What I'm going to be dubbing a movie-making wet dream team. Bay is known for bringing the action, guns, fast cars and good-looking Sheilas, while Spielberg knows how to bring that signature magic and adventure. Being the first Transformers feature since the 80s, it's no wonder the movie brought in a whopping $709 million worldwide. Now, even if you were like me and had absolutely no clue or zero interest in the brand growing up, I guarantee you still would have caught that odd cartoon on a Saturday morning and could sound off that theme song on cue. Transformers' leading man is none other than the goofy and ambiguous Shia LaBeouf. Shia LaBeouf. Chia LaPoppypot. I guess we'll never know. But with a name just as interesting as his personality, he fits the role almost too perfectly as an incorrigible teen who talks like he just snorted an 8-ball. Shia's character Sam Witwicky gets swept up into the chaotic and destructive war between alien robot enemies, the Autobots, and the Decepticons. They've made their way to Earth to search for an alien cube called the Allspark, said to hold enough power to take over and destroy all life. His sidekick and love interest is played by the absolute bombshell Megan Fox, who was, and still is to this day, so fucking hot, she made a 17-year-old Chloe question her sexuality on more than one occasion. But I digress. You guys don't want me to bore you with my suppressed lesbian fantasies.
Sorry, what?
Yes we do.
Bringing more than just a hot bod and sassy attitude, Megan is able to ground the characters in a way so they actually seem like people in the real world. Now, we can't talk about Transformers without mentioning the equally gorgeous and talented supporting actors such as Josh Duhamel, Aussie actress Rachel Taylor, and none other than Anthony Anderson, who never fails to bring that comedic relief. But what makes this movie incredibly special is the fact that Peter Cullen was able to reprise his voice acting skills as Optimus Prime once more. Now you pair these professionals with a banging classic from Linkin Park, and boy, have you got yourself one hell of a movie, my friends. The graphics and animation in this movie are so complex, it's literally out of this world. Each frame taking the animators 38 hours to colour. And it was Spielberg himself who made the point to keep the CGI to the Transformers only. Everything else was kept to actual stunt work. Now, if you ask me, and I know you didn't, more directors, studios, movie makers need to stop and ask themselves one question. What would Spielberg do? The answer? Less CGI, more stunt work. I might say it a little louder for those in the back. Transformers came into the theatre when I was in my late teens, and I have to say I was just as obsessed with this movie as I was with my box-coloured side fringe and my All-Star Chucks. If you live in Australia, I found this gem streaming on Stan, and I definitely recommend you revisit this one for your next movie night. That's all from me this week. Have a happy and safe Monday, friends.
Once again, excellent stuff. Chloe is new to our show, and you can find her own podcast, Movie Night with the Ritchie Girls, wherever you get podcasts from. In fact, again, like I say, with all the other segments, follow them on Facebook and all their social media pages and catch up with their regular stuff. You may have picked up earlier in my chat with Andrew Koji that there is a Hasbro universe, and Transformers is part of that. And that's a shared universe that exists with things like G.I. Joe, Transformers, ROM, Space Knight, Micronauts, Mask, and Visionaries. And apparently they're gonna open that up a bit in the future with these live action films.
So is it all owned by, like, ROM is a Marvel character? ROM Space Knight.
Yeah, Marvel did some comic books of G.I. Joe as well.
They did, and Transformers. Like, Transformers has been on just about every comic label. But do Marvel own Hasbro now, or do Hasbro?
It's probably just collaboration.
That doesn't sound like a movie studio. They don't like to collaborate. That's why we still have Fantastic Four movies that aren't part of the Marvel universe.
Did you know that the cartoons even did Transformers crossover with My Little Pony, and it was called Friends in Disguise?
What does that mean? That's interesting.
It's true.
That was, funnily enough, the guy, when I was a kid, the guy who pulled over in a van and offered me candy. That's how he explained it.
And he went on to direct Jeepers Creepers. Yeah. Anyway, thank you, Chloe. It's great to have you on board. All right, Ben, you and I are up. You go first.
Well, you've been making a lot of fun of Victor De Salva on the show so far. And funnily enough, the movie that I'm going to talk about has a similar pedigree, allegedly.
You got to watch out for that word.
Yeah, got to put it in there. Don't want to get sued. But I want to talk about 1987's Masters of the Universe, directed by Gary Goddard, who has been accused by a few people of being a bit untoward, including Anthony Edwards and a few others. But let's just move that to the side and focus on the film, because
should we do a whole episode on that?
Yeah. I'm pushing it aside. Let's just leave the controversial stuff out and pretend that it didn't happen. This movie, I don't know, like, I think back to when I watched it as a kid, and I try to tell myself that I liked it, but I didn't, because it wasn't, like, it's supposed to be a He-Man movie or Masters of the Universe movie, but it's not. It all takes place here. Like, they find some bullshit reason, and they do it by creating Gwildor, the worst character in the Masters of the universe. Like, they had characters that could have done that part. They could have had Orko in there. They could have had Zodak in there doing a similar thing. But no. Let's keep Billy Barty employed, and bring in this weird character Gwildor who transports them all to Earth accidentally, and then Tom Paris from Star Trek Voyager finds the cosmic key and thinks it's a Japanese synthesizer, and uses it to accidentally alert Skeletor and Evil Lyn to the Master's hiding space on Earth. It is a very weird film.
It certainly is.
Frank Langella plays Skeletor. He's great. Meg Foster as Evil Lynn is really good. Courtney Cox is in it for seemingly an unknown reason. Like she's one of the humans, the regular folk that get caught up in it. She's not one of the Masters of the Universe.
She was a canon actress at that point in time.
Right, just doing Ari Gross movies.
She did the Albert Pune one, the Down Twisted.
Right. She was in it. I mean, she did have a fairly kind of rich career before Friends. Just never made it to kind of A status. But she was in a lot of stuff. But Chelsea Field from plays Teela, and she was a solid gold dancer before she became an actress, and she's actually pretty good. Like her, funnily enough, considering they've got Billy Barty, who is kind of the comedy relief character, and he's the Jar Jar Binks of Masters of the Universe. They've got John Cypher and Chelsea Field playing Man at Arms and Teela, and they're also kind of comedy relief. And then you've got they create three villain characters that are new: Blade and Korg. I think his name's Korg, and another one who gets killed. Funnily enough, he was the actual only one whose figure I had as a kid, and he gets killed really early. The other one, but then Beastman is the only actual kind of villain from the cartoon that makes it through into the film, which is really weird. And Skeletor gets a bunch of Skeletor. It really bothered me because it fucked so bad with the Masters of the universe.
Mm.
But that being said, if you haven't seen it, check it out. It does it does have James Tolkien in it from Back to the Future. So, watch it for him.
Frank Langella considers it to be one of his favorite characters that he's played.
He's great. Like he's actually genuinely good. He and Meg Foster are genuinely good villains. And it's not that Dolph Lundgren is bad as He-Man, but I mean, when real people say these names out loud, it's just retarded. Like you can, like everyone else is fine, but He-Man is such a stupid name. He-Man. And his sister She-Girl. Oh, they changed that to She-Ra because they couldn't call her She-Woman. It's just like, who came up with it?
They've made it. They've made a new movie or like an animated movie recently.
Oh, Kevin Smith. Kevin Smith is.
Kevin Smith.
Yeah, got a new series that's if it hasn't just dropped, it's just about to.
Oh, okay, so it's a series.
And for a long time, Ang Lee was trying to get a Masters of the Universe film up and running too.
Oh.
Right. Cyborg was supposed to be Masters of the Universe too, right?
Yeah, I was about to say the famous piece of trivia is that Cyborg and Canon's Spider-Man films got cancelled, and so Albert Pune came along and combined all of the sets and costumes and wrote a new story, and that's what Cyborg became.
Right.
Wow.
That's a great piece of trivia. I love that one.
It's a good one, and it is like it does like Courtney Cox at the beginning of the film. She does work in a fast food kind of chicken restaurant, and I will say the most memorable thing about the film is like how much I want to eat that fast food. Like it looks, and because what's his name ends up there, like Man at Arms, and Gwildor steals. Like I don't think it's KFC, but he somehow steals a bucket of chicken from a couple making out in a car, and they literally. So they've gone to the drive-through. They've grabbed their bucket of chicken, so it's like KFC 80s KFC bucket size. And then they put the chicken in the back seat so they can make out in the front. Now, I like making out as much as the next guy, but when there's like hot fast food chicken to be eaten, which will not reheat well, you take a break from the making out, you eat the chicken, and then you get back to the making out, and that way you get to eat the chicken twice. Like it just.
It's good advice. It's good advice.
Yeah. But there you go. Masters of the Universe, 1987. Gary Goddard.
I just came up with 2 new shows that we can do, Ben. One would be movies that make you hungry. That would be good. And maybe we should do 6 Degrees of Billy Barty.
Yeah. Just to see if you can get an interview with him. I mean, I know he's been dead for about 10 years, but or I can just find someone who can do a good impression.
I was going to do Ouija. I was going to do the movie Ouija. You could get a Ouija board You could start
Yeah,
talking.
and communicate with Billy Barty.
Yeah.
What's his name in Willow? He's the I can't remember what his character's name is. I keep thinking Ufgood, but that's Willow's last name.
What about in UHF? Isn't he Noodles McIntyre or something?
Is he? And like whenever he appears as like Billy Barty, like not in some kind of weird fantasy costume, he's always wearing like a sleazy kind of checked sports jacket, like he's a used car salesman.
Or a bookie.
Yeah, totally.
All right. I'm gonna speed through my final one because you just took too long, Ben.
I always do. I hog the microphone. I freely admit.
I don't know why, but there's something completely wholesome about my picks today. I've gone with from Raggedy Ann. I've gone to Kit Kitteridge. Have you guys heard of this one? It's one of the All-American Girl films. It's a huge franchise. So there's 14 installments in the series now, and they're all based off a popular line of girls' dolls, which are kind of like a Barbie kind of thing, but launched in 1986. They offered a lot more diversity and sort of multiculturalism and multi-eras and all that kind of stuff.
And yet she's American, so...
Well, Julia Roberts produced the film series, and it all began with Samantha and Felicity. They were both directed by Nadia Tass, Australia's own, who did Malcolm and The Big Steal and whatnot. 3 movies were released to television before they increased their budgets with this one and went theatrical. And look, I love it. It's made in 2008, and it's about life during the Great Depression as seen through the eyes of a 10-year-old girl played by Abigail Breslin. How's this for a cast, though? Julia Ormond, Stanley Tucci, Joan Cusack, Wallace Shawn, Glenn Headley, Chris O'Donnell, Willow Smith, and Max Thero, as well as Jane Krakowski. I think that's how you pronounce her name. That's a stellar cast. Yeah. And it's a fantastic film. It has a running theme all the way through the film, sort of blurring the lines between the wealthy and the homeless when the Depression hits, and sort of the segregation that the crisis causes. But it's beautifully shot and it's really well acted, and it kind of feels like, I guess, My Girl. If you like the aesthetic of My Girl, it's got that kind of flavor to it. But well worth a look.
Yeah, I really like that film.
Kitteridge.
Yeah, it's
you'd love it, Ben.
Oh, I've seen the cover. I've seen the poster of this, and she looks weird, like somehow like Martin Short in Clifford. Like someone's done something weird to her face, and it's actually a horror film.
They probably tried to make it look like a doll, I guess, like the doll.
Yeah,
Kittredge.
Right, and she just looks kind of creepy. Like and then you find out like on the poster that there's a basset hound with his head resting on her shoulder, and you find out it's just the severed head, and the eyes are all stuffed, and all the people in the photos underneath the people she's killed, like it's her Dexter trophies of the kills.
This took a dark turn.
I've really just from looking at the poster, I've really built my own little universe.
Yeah.
Well, things are about to get a lot darker. Here's Adam.
Hey guys, it's Adam here from Adam's Just Seen and Triple M with another Good Movie Monday recommendation. This week, we are doing movies with GI in the title, and it's fallen on to me to revisit G.I. Jane. Now, this is a movie that's kind of infamous because it was one of the last really big star vehicles for Demi Moore, and I don't think that it can kind of be overstated just how big of a star Demi was, and that this feels like an above-the-line Demi Moore production. She could control the director, the screenwriter, basically every element of this film. You can feel her touch on it. Now, she won a Razzie for her performance in this film, but I do not think that she is that bad. I think she's got this steely determination here as Jordan O'Neill, and I think that that she acquits herself quite well. There are physical montages in here of her doing one-arm push-ups, which I reckon are kind of pretty rad. So they definitely feel of another time. Now, G.I. Jane is about a woman being put into the Navy SEAL program, which is notorious for being one of the most difficult training, if not the most difficult training on the planet. And now we have even TV reality shows of stuff like this, like with SAS Australia. So, I mean, just on that level alone, it is quite rousing to see insight into the military training, precision that goes on. It looks arduous, looks very, very difficult. This movie has the distinction of being directed by Ridley Scott, the guy that gave us Alien and Gladiator. And so just on that front, it looks absolutely gorgeous. I mean, Scott is one of the great visual stylists that's ever worked in film, and he definitely brings that to the table. The movie's got a really kind of curious and I think kind of rad performance here too as well by Viggo Mortensen, who has gone on to become, one of the all-time kind of great actors. And his mustache, accent, and really tight shorts here is something I think that you need to just check out for yourself. So, look, not as bad, I think, as it kind of sits in history, and really, honestly, like an interesting progressive film for 1997. I mean, film has become, highly political, and we talk more about the themes and and the politics of film than we do even about their construction. So a movie here that wanted to push buttons, is it a little bit clumsy in some ways? Yeah, but it's very curious to see where we are in film in 2021 and to go back and to see this through this lens. This is currently on Disney Plus, so you've got nothing to lose by just clicking on it. And I think that, if you want to kind of complete Ridley Scott's filmography and go back and see too as well how powerful Demi Moore was at that point in her career, it's really interesting to check out, And she joins, one of the great actresses to ever shave their head for a movie, like Natalie Portman in V for Vendetta, Charlize Theron in Fury Road, and Demi Moore here, and obviously Sigourney Weaver in Alien 3. So check that out, worth your time, and yeah.
Ben, if you had a GI Jane doll as a kid, would you have sucked the legs off that one too?
If they were soft and chewy. I didn't discriminate. Ken did not do well. Ken did not fare well in the. Ken had hard legs. Ken was all plastic, like a helmet hair Ken. And Barbie was the one who had the chewable feet, and it did not in any way instill any kind of weird fetish in adult life. Like I look at foot fetish porn, and I'm like, I don't get
What's
it.
the appeal?
Yeah, like what? What does that? There's that.
Do you walk past mall windows and think, "Oh, I'd love to suck on those mannequin legs"?
No, mannequins are too hard.
Yeah, I just every time I do it, I think of mannequin. I'm like, she's going to come alive.
You might. Yeah, Sam. He waits for summer when they get all soft and wilty.
Yeah, a bit melty.
Thank you to Adam. That was fun. And you can find Adam at his Facebook page, Adam's Just Seen. Go and annoy him and talk about movies and shit like that. Guys, we've hit the end of the show. Another one in the can. Let us never do this theme again. Ever.
Yeah, not unless they make more toys.
The next G.I. Joe movie.
Let's put down a tentative date and we'll wait until there's more.
2050. 2052.
Yeah. I'm actually, I'm kind of shocked that there isn't more, considering how the studios are so like IP friendly now. I mean, they made a Battleship movie.
Yeah.
You'd think that there were plenty more toy lines that they could have ripped off for movies that for whatever reason they made a Facebook movie, for fuck's sake. Like, admittedly, it's not the movie I thought it was going to be when they said it was a Facebook movie or like the Monopoly movie. But
I think it wasn't David Fincher or Martin Scorsese or someone like was going to do a Monopoly movie, or it was in the works.
Like a legit.
Yeah. But it didn't happen, right?
No, or at least it hasn't happened yet. I'm sure it's like all those movies, they're in development.
Yeah.
Like,
would that have been like a Wall Street kind of film, do you reckon?
Oh, for sure.
Yeah.
For sure.
That's right. Go to jail.
$200.
Like,
if there's a jail sequence here, Danny Trejo's in there.
Yeah, it's all about Trump-esque real estate magnates trying to build up hotel empires and avoid prison.
That sounds depressing.
Mate, if they had pitched it like that, I'm sure they would have sold it.
It'd have got the green light. It would have got the green light.
Hey, everybody listening, if you don't follow us on social media already, then what are you waiting for? We're on Facebook, we're on YouTube and Instagram. The pages are loaded with content, and we drop our videos now several times a week. So we have our Tuesday, Wednesday, and Thursday videos, and that includes the new Up Late video we do with Chloe. So we have a nice chat over a cup of coffee. But Sam, it's been radical having you here again. I reckon we can do it again soon. I hope we can.
Yeah, great. I'd love to come back, talk about Maybe not something a bit more
No,
easy.
sex toy talk. No. Like literally, it's what you opened with, Glenn.
I'm going to close with it too. But first, let me thank those people I always thank: Four Pillars Gin Eagle Entertainment, Luna Drive-In, Astor Theatre, Umbrella Entertainment, and also a whip around to thank get it? Jarret, Guillermo, Adam, Chloe, Joe, Chad, and James. And much love to Tia for the work she does behind the scenes. Benjamin, thank you, mate. I have placed that pre-order for the Black Destroyer, so it should be on your doorstep any day now.
I was hoping it was going to be a Fuck Me Silly, which is...
That's the sequel to Raggedy Ann.
There's a comma in there, though.
Thank you to everybody for listening. I hope you've had fun. I think it's been a pretty fun show. We're going to leave you. Speaking of kinky fetishes, a song from the Care Bears movie. This one is called When You Care, You're Never Afraid to Try. So, Ben, Black Destroyer on its way.
I'm not afraid to try.
You sound afraid.
I can't wait.
From the 1985 soundtrack to the Care Bears. Have a great week, everyone. And we'll see you on the next one, where our special guest is S.K. Dale, the director of the new Megan Fox thriller Till Death. But for now, Care Bears and a very special surprise from Ben at the end.
We're calling for the loyal hearts wherever they may be.
We're calling for the proud hearts to come and follow me.
We're calling for the gentle hearts to keep us company.
And it would be a treat, heart, if you would follow me.
'Cause there's a job to be done. We're gonna need everyone, because nobody can do it alone. We need the swift and the small. We need the strong and the tall. 'Cause everyone has a strength of their own. And when you put it all together, then there's a power no one can deny. It's the power to share. It's the power to care. 'Cause when you care, you're not afraid to try. And when you put it all together, then there's a power no one can deny. It's the power to share, it's the power to care. When you care, you're not afraid to try.
Hi, I've got a delivery here for Mr. Ben Helwig.